growing up with my mom, I lived in the household with her, and she wasn't working with animals as a regular job. They just were in our household. And we were forever bringing in strays, not only dogs and cats and birds and rats. We were in high school, and my brother had seen a pheasant that had gotten hit by a car, and he brought it to Mom.
As I worked with this pheasant, it started giving me pictures of it flying, literally flying over the field, and I could see the ground and the weeds, and I had never flown. And I knew that was the first time that that information and impressions and visual information was not in my past memory, because I hadn't done this. And that was the massive turnaround in the fact that we could communicate. Now, when I first got that information, I didn't recognize that I could give information back.
But how did you feel when you...
I felt incredibly free. I felt...
shocked?
It wasn't exactly a shock at the time. It was, afterwards, it was a sheer joy. Absolutely. And I can remember now, and you know, then a little bit, but now I look back and, you know, we saw the movies with Merlin and who was it? Merlin teaching King Arthur about the animals and about becoming the eagle and becoming the different beings. And I experienced like becoming that being in that experience of the visual information that was transmitted to my brain. And I could see what it and feel what it felt like to fly.
Is that your first recollection
of Mom really working with an animal, of the pictures, of sending the information back and forth. That was the very first time that Samantha had ever gotten that. And then she took it from there, and she started working with all the animals in the neighborhood. Now, here, you've got a problem, give it to me. Let me see if I can work on it. And it was almost like a game. Let's see if I can get some information from this animal.
So we've been working on that.
And that's when I started to think, you know, this isn't the regular family that everybody else has.
Yes.
It was the very first date that me and Heidi had had. She had told me before we even started dating, I think the very first time we ever really talked, I'm a little bit different, and, you know, my household's a little bit different. I asked her, well, what does your mom do? And she told me a little bit about it. And when somebody says something like that to you, that this lady, my mother, communicates with animals, she reads their minds, and they talk to her. I mean, being a skeptic, I think like most people, I just kind of thought, no, what is this? You know, you tend to think there's a loony bin going on here. I walked out to my car, and I sat there. I didn't start the car up right away. I just sat there and thought, should I come back to this house? I mean, this is pretty strange. The way she talks to them, and this lady gets right down on the floor and talks to them like they're human beings. And
when I was a little girl, I was very tuned into animals. I had a very rugged childhood. And so the animals, my dog, really provided the emotional nurturing for me that a parent would normally nurture. But I didn't have the parents to nurture me that way. I was adopted at 5 years old. And we never talked about my parents or my dad. To this day, I don't know who he is. There are periods in my life that were pretty emotionally devastating to me. When I was adopted is when I bonded with the animals. They were always there emotionally, no matter what state I was in. And that was the refuge that I could go to. I talked to my dog, and my dog listened, and I shared everything with my dog. And as I grew up, we were best friends. I never grew away from that. Not only did I bond with them, but I believed always, I still do, that we are equal beings. I do not see the animal kingdom as separate from myself. And that's why we can communicate.
When Samantha comes into my house, which now has, as I said, 3 cats, 2 dogs, and a rabbit. It's like somebody coming into, it's rather like what the fantasy of St. Francis of Assisi, you know, just all the animals gather around. They really do come right over to her, and they really know who she is to them. Yes, sir. I'm going to take him out. Yes, sir. You're going to be all right, big boy. Yeah, I know. This has been kind of wild for you, huh? Traveling in a taxi and all the things. But your mommy cares enough about you that she wants you to get all feeling terrific. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you can get down and check everything out. I don't mind. And the kitty's name is?
Tonga.
Tonga. Okay, and what are the biggest problems that you have?
He's very aggressive. He bites and scratches a lot, and sometimes he'll come over and just stare at you for a long time, and then I know he's getting ready to like bite or scratch, or sometimes he'll just do it completely out of the blue and just run over and bite me.
Well, I'll find out from him what it is and why he's doing that. Now, how I work is he's going to spend 45 minutes with me. And in that 45 minutes, not only am I going to talk to him, but I'm going to go back and see if I can find out when it started and get some clear information on how he feels and some other information about his life. And then you'll be back, and then I'll give you a readout.
Okay.
Okay?
Bye, Tonga.
Do you have any idea what you expect to happen today?
Oh, well, I expect that Tonga will speak with Samantha and, you know, be unladen of his psychic burden, and he'll come home a happy, docile cat.
Do you believe that that's really possible?
No. But it'd be nice.
Do you know, with my hand here, do you know how scared you get? You know that? Do you know that when you bite someone's hand, they get as scared? And you cannot bite people. No, and you cannot swat them. She's going to get you some real nice toys that'll bounce all over, and you can attack and swat those. Okay? But let's get the rest of this out. We have a little more to get out. That's not going to come close to you. No. And you can growl. Go ahead. You can growl and you can... No, 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 no. It's all right. It's all right. Hang in there. Hang in there with me. I promise I won't hurt you. I know how hard this is. Okay, and she's going to be coming in a minute. Yes. Okay, now let me finish up this side, and then we'll let her in, okay? Now we're going to get that spot that's uncomfortable, so you have to sit real steady, and if you get uncomfortable, stick your nails in my pants. Yeah, I know, baby boy. I know. Oh, you're about ready to get down. Okay, now let's go get his owner in here. What I did was I worked with Tonga, basically started out with giving him pictures about biting. And how you do this is animals think in pictures or visual images. And in your mind, if you can give him a picture of what it is that you would like him to do, he will be able to pick up your impressions or visual images very, very quickly. As I was working with him, I found that he has two things going. One of a fun nature regarding hands and one of a terror nature regarding hands. So I decided to start activating the part of the terror and of being frightened with somebody coming at him. So what happened is we went back in time. I literally saw him being taken, I think it was, he talked about it being a male that had picked him up and grabbed him. That particular incident is the incident that is traumatic for him. So he has a couple of areas on the back that he gets highly activated when you pet him. Then what it does is it continually triggers this uncomfortable memory. I have told him that he hurts us by biting and that he has to quit that, and that hurts as much as his back. Okay? Oh, then he started telling me about your shower curtain.
Yeah, what did he say about the shower curtain?
He loves that shower curtain.
Oh yeah, it's full of holes. And he likes the bathtub too.
Yes. Yes, that's his more special area.
Well, Tongo is definitely a changed cat after seeing Samantha. He was very, very calm, very relaxed. He was almost as if he was on tranquilizers. And his aggressive habits started to come back after that initial week, but he was never as aggressive and hostile as he had been prior to his visit to Samantha. He definitely calmed down a lot and released some kind of trauma or hostility or something.
I worked with several of the elephants at the San Diego Zoo. Maya is an Asian elephant. She's about 75 years of age. We talked for a little bit and I walked away. She took her big, huge leg and she swung it to hit me, and the keepers had to push her off. She did that twice. And I turned and I asked her what the problem was, and she informed me that she wasn't finished talking and that I rudely just turned and walked away. What I did was I apologized. My behavior was completely off. And I mean, I sincerely, with all of my heart, apologized to this great, intelligent being. As I apologized to her, she bowed. She went all the way to the ground, and the keepers were so surprised. They said they never saw her do that. She said that she had bad feet and they hurt her, and she wanted me to communicate that to her keepers. So I did a little bit of pet massage on the bottoms of her feet and around her whole nails, and she was so grateful. Anyway, I finished all the footwork, showed the keepers how to do that kind of massage, and now every day they get to have the bottoms of their feet worked with and massaged, and she's very, very pleased. Okay, this is
Keep It Easy.
Keep It Easy? Mm-hmm. Keep It Easy, wow. Okay, Keep It Easy. I want to immediately go in here and work on the chest. Yes, I know we've got problems on this chest. And it seems to me that there's something on more of the right side or the left side than the right side. I'm not too sure until I get in and touch, and then I ask some questions. But I feel something that is off on that chest right away, immediately. And you're going to let me touch you, sweetheart? Yes. Okay, let's see what you got. All right, my body's starting to get uncomfortable now. It seems to be up higher. I feel like there's something way up inside. It's almost like when I tune into my chest and his chest and this side, it's like I get winded, and that part is very heavy, and I don't feel real good right there. And it's probably his physical heart or the lungs. If I was running, I would have probably a small pain in my heart.
Well, he has a problem with his valves in his heart.
The valves in the heart, no wonder.
He has a murmur.
He has a heart murmur?
About 2 months ago. He was given an EKG and he was giving a sonogram, and they found that his valves just don't work properly.
Yeah, and it feels to me like the right ventricle feels like it feels like it's the one, and check with them. Ask the vet, call the vet.
She walked in immediately. She sensed that there was something in his chest. She didn't know exactly what it was, and eventually came to his heart. And I'm not positive, but I think she picked the ventricle also that was bothering him.
Yes, hello, Sissy. Yes, we're going to work together. Boy, we're talking, be careful with me, and I want to get very quiet and soft and back off, and, you know, don't come at me real fast. And boy, she just is, she's very apprehensive, and I almost feel sad, and I don't know why yet. Also, this one is another one that needs to be outside just a little bit more. You know, just out there, even. It's in the stall too much.
She's tried to jump out of the stall.
She needs to go out.
That's why we have a gate on her. We had to put a gate up because she tried to jump over the top of the webbing and she got her legs caught.
Wouldn't it, well, be easier if you just took her outside?
She also digs a lot, Samantha. I think she's trying to tunnel out now.
It's just it's like she says, if I keep trying, just quietly keep trying, maybe you'll pay attention to me. Yeah, that's what it is. So you need to get her outside. She needs to see the sunshine and the wind. Hold steady, sweetie. And they're going to take you out. You're going to get to go outside. Yes. Yeah. You can see the trees. Yeah. Yeah, you smell that? Whoa. And then she'll run better, too. And she'll stop all the other stuff. You can look at it. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, sweetheart.
I saw the lady,
Samantha,
talking to the, in pictures, to the animals. And it's very interesting. I like it. I've always tried to figure out what they were thinking. From years, trying to, every time you get underneath a horse, you're always trying to picture what's going on in his mind.
What's this one?
Veil Run.
Veil Run? Whoa, what a beautiful name. I guess I will cuddle you. This one needs right away, needs a lot of love, a lot of reassurance. Let me get in here and start working with her.
Since she's been here, she came in here on Sunday.
It's okay.
She hasn't eaten since she's been here.
Okay, I'll get her to start eating and let me talk to her. She likes to run, so I'm telling her that when she starts to eat again, yes, that she's going to get to run. Yeah. Oh, you want to climb in my pocket, huh? Well, if you were a little smaller, I'd love it if you climbed in my pocket. And you know you have to eat. Ah. Feel better now? Does that feel better? You ready to eat? I think she's about ready to go eat.
I hope so.
I think so. Remember sugar. This one's sweet-oriented.
Okay.
Yes.
I think as far as people being skeptical, when they see the kind of results that I've seen with Samantha, I think they have to start to accept more what she's capable of doing. And I think they will as they're exposed to it more and more. I had asked Samantha, you know, to try and find out what was bothering this horse. So she spent some time, about a half hour with the horse, and I went over and asked her how things were going, and she said things were fine. She said, but this horse is pretty angry with you. And I was kind of taken back by it, and I asked her why, and she told me, well, he had been in training for an extensive period of time, over 2 years. He hadn't had any rest, and he needed a rest. He wanted to go out in the field and run around and play. And I said to Samantha, well, that's not right, because he had just been turned out about 6 weeks previously on the owner's farm, and he was given a rest, and now he was just back in training a couple of weeks. So she went back to raise a bet and came back to me and said that, well, according to him, that's not true. He was being trained on the farm and he has not had a rest. So I kind of smiled and told Samantha, well, let's call the owner. And I called the owner and I said, Jerry, I know you're going to think I'm ridiculous, but I have somebody here who's communicating with Raise the Bet, and I have to ask you, when he was on the farm, did you turn him out like we had said? And there was silence on the other end of the phone. And I said, Jerry, what happened? And he said to me, well, I didn't want to tell you, but my trainer on the farm said that there was no horse that he couldn't train. And he said, I'm going to make this horse train. And he put spurs on, and he just did what he had to do to make the horse train. And the horse wasn't turned out. So we went back to Raise the Bet, and we wound up making a deal with him, where he had to run a race in 3 or 4 days, and we said, well, you run this race, you don't have to win, but at least try in the race. And then after the race, we would give him a vacation. And that's what happened.
There is an unspoken language between people and their pets, especially if they've been together for a long time. The same intuitive sense that you may have with one pet, some people claim to have with all animals. These aren't just fanciful modern-day Dr. Doolittles. Professional pet interpreters like Samantha Khury get astonishing results.
I'm usually the last hope. The average person comes to see me because they don't know where to turn. This is their last hope.
She's like a translator, is how I would describe it.
People seek out Samantha Khury when the special bond between pet and owner seems to be breaking down. She's part pet psychologist, part sounding board, and claims that her psychic connection with animals is so strong that she can often communicate with a pet even when the owner cannot. It was her work with the elephants at the San Diego Wild Animal Park that first brought Samantha's talents into the national spotlight.
Well, the elephant keeper thought that his animals, the 7 or 8 elephants that he had, were acting a little strangely. The elephant keeper's wife, who knew of Samantha Khury, had mentioned this to him, and I guess he figured, why not give it a try?
When I realized that I was in the presence of a very intelligent being, it was overwhelming for me.
Zookeepers were astonished that Samantha knew things about the elephants which were not public knowledge, including the recent death of one of the herd.
When it died, they took the body and they moved the body away. The elephants didn't even get a chance to touch that body or that form.
The elephants at the animal park had never participated in this type of mourning ritual, and Samantha told their zookeeper that this was the source of the problem. They wanted to grieve for their friend in their own way.
He just said, well, I kept the skull for some reason, I don't know why. Would that help if I put the skull in the compound? So he had done that, and then they let all of the elephants out the next day. And he said that he had heard 3 or 4 enormous cries, and then they worked all day to take and separate the tusk from the skull. And once that was done, it was as if something was listed throughout the whole herd.
It's theorized in the wild that elephants will go through kind of a grief period, and they'll even pick up bones of elephants that have died and carry them with them. Just a chance to kind of recognize that they're not here anymore, pay their respects, I guess is how we'd put it in human terms.
How did the elephants communicate with Samantha? She believes that animals transmit thought with pictures instead of words, and that she is sensitive to receiving those pictures.
It's almost like going back to being in kindergarten. You see the flashcards and the picture of the boat and then the word the boat. By the time you get into 1st or 2nd grade, that word represents the visual impression.
And Samantha uses the same kind of word pictures to talk back to her clients, like these thoroughbred show horses in Del Mar, California. These horses are working professionals, and their owners have a big stake in their success.
She turned around and started telling me things about the horse that only I, as the rider, would know about.
Toby's a jumper. Great horse. I first met Toby because he was having some problems with jumping.
He was doing very well in the warm-up ring, and he'd go in the show ring and like pull 4 rails, and it just felt to me that his concentration wasn't there.
Toby gave me visual impressions originally on how he was jumping, and that he didn't understand that this is really serious business. He was much more playful. As I talked about going over the jumps, that what he needed to do was just lift his legs up just a little bit higher, tuck them up close to his body, and then that his relationship with Mark was a business.
When Samantha was communicating with Toby on how he should be jumping over the fences, she would go ahead and grunt. Well, Toby now grunts over certain fences. He doesn't grunt over every single fence, but every time he goes over a fence really well and he grunts, he's doing it in fairly good form. So I have to associate that with something that Samantha did. I think it would probably take me a whole year to what Samantha's been able to accomplish through the 2-month period of just communicating with him once.
Toby is just one of many success stories Samantha has had working with horses at this facility. But not everyone is convinced.
Well, I'm not really sure what to expect. I'm not very familiar with this stuff, but I guess I gotta be open-minded.
It's only natural that many animal owners are skeptical before their first session. Diamond has recently become unruly, refusing to trot properly. After his owners went through the usual course of behavioral specialists, they decided to try something different.
This is amazing. Well, she must be doing something, because I've never seen him do this. I've never seen him gait naturally like he's done here. I've never seen him do that. And that was one of his deficiencies, is he doesn't foxtrot like he's supposed to.
Although Samantha consults with many professional animals and their trainers, the bulk of her work is with family pets, After 30 years of practice, Samantha has successfully brought thousands of pets and their owners closer together. But for client Julie Ritter, better communication with her dogs brought some surprising revelations.
I was kind of wondering if something ever happened to the marriage, I wasn't expecting it, and I had to split up the 10 dogs, who would go with who?
Julie brought her dogs to Samantha and asked her to interpret their preferences. One dog gave an answer that just didn't make sense at first.
So we come to Scruffy. I said, well, who would you go with? She said, I'd go with the little boy. I don't have any kids. So I said, what little boy? And she said, well, the little boy that lives next door. Well, where am I? And, well, you're at church. And she said, well, the lady and my husband go down the hall. And I thought, oh my God, the only thing down the hall is bedrooms. And I went, oh my gosh, you're having an affair while I'm at church. And I started to laugh. I mean, the whole thing was hysterical. I'm talking to this lady with her eyes closed and dogs running around. And the irony is, we continued to work on the marriage, but ultimately it did die. And he married her, and the dog slept on the little boy's bed.
Samantha believes everyone has the ability to communicate with animals using word pictures. It takes time and practice, but the rewards can be great.
All the visual pictures are all in the brain, and then as you magnify and align your emotion with that visual, then the animal can understand you.
If this is the key that will unlock the mystery of human-animal communication, Samantha Khury says we will all benefit from a more humane world. Samantha Khury believes most people have the ability to receive visual messages that have been psychically transmitted by their pets. She suggests that the 3 essential elements to improving human-animal communication are concentration, patience, and love.